Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to MTEL's conference call for the 9 months of 2024 results. All the materials for today's call are available on our website, www.mitratel.co.id. Today's call is being recorded and a replay will be available after the call. There will be a CEO remarks and followed by presentation from our CIO before the Q&A session. Before we start, let me remind you that today's presentation and responses to questions may contain forward-looking statements within the meaning of safe harbor. The projection or estimation may involve risk and uncertainty that may cause actual results to be different from what we discuss today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure now to introduce MTEL's Board of Directors who are joining us today. Our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Theodorus Ardihartoko, our Chief Financial and Risk Officer, Mr. Ian Sigit Kurniawan, Chief Operating Officer, Ms. Hastining Bagyo Astuti, Chief Commercial Officer, Mr. Agus Winarno, and our Chief Investment Officer, Mr. Hendra Purnama. Without further ado, I will now hand over the call to our CEO for his remarks. Please, Pak Teddy, the time is yours.
Thank you, Andy. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our conference call for the 9 months of 2024 results today. Please allow me to start today's call with a few remarks before handing it over to our CIO for a more detailed presentation. In the 9 months of 2024, driven by fiber optic business that grew by almost 90% and tower leasing that continued to growing positively at 8.5%. EBITDA grew by 12.1% with EBITDA margin expanded to 83.1% from 80.5% last year. In the bottom line, we post 1.553 trillion rupiah in net income, relatively in line with our expectation. This performance was achieved amid challenging tower industry, as we still see impact from mobile operators consolidation, and even there might be another consolidation in mobile industry. Fiber optic business becomes our new engine of growth and strengthening our portfolio. We continue to explore opportunities in tower ecosystem to complement our tower business. In line with dual-pronged strategy, we are expecting one decent size inorganic transaction to be finalized by the end of this year. Lastly, towards end of the year, we are confident that we will record full year 2024 results that is in line with our guidance. This concludes my remarks. I will now hand over to Pak Indra.
Okay.
Please, Pak Indra.
Thank you, Pak Teddy. Okay, I will now start our presentation. Okay. Maybe we can start from the highlight. Okay. Next. Okay. So MTEL still the biggest tower company in Indonesia. As of third quarter, we own more than 39,000 towers. The revenue contribution still dominant by Telkomsel, followed by IO and also XL. We also received one of the highest rank for the ESG rating from Sustainalytics. Our latest score is actually at 19.3. This makes us as one of the best company with the best Sustainalytics score in Indonesia. On top of that, we are still maintain our position in the LQ45 and also in the other 13 index, including the ESG index. Okay, we also still, we are remaining the independent tower company with the largest market share in Indonesia. And on top of that, we are aggressively building our fiber optic. As Pak Teddy mentioned, our fiber optic growth more than 90% as of third quarter 2024. Next. Our track record in terms of organic growth, okay, and also inorganic, still have a CAGR of 21%. The inorganic, as you see, between 2023 and 2024 still remain because we haven't closed our inorganic process yet. In terms of the tower market share, we are still dominating at 52%. And for the fiber market share, we also still have about 25%, which is the biggest in the industry. In terms of the tenancy ratio, again, if we are included the inorganic tower, then our tenancy ratio at 1.51. But then if we exclude the inorganic activity, then the tenancy ratio at 1.83. Okay. We also quite agile in anticipating the market condition. And we also, that's why we are able to solve the overlapping as one of the fastest tower company. And then we also quite agile or aggressive in terms of providing a product that actually needed by our customer. For example, the fiber and also the power as a service. Okay, next. In terms of the operation highlight, you can see that our asset, either is a tower or fiber, increase quite significant, especially for the fiber, close to 37%. The number of tenants also increased close to 7%. The colocation also improving at 8.4%, and mainly is actually growing outside Java Island. The tenancy ratio, as I mentioned, is 1.51. The billable for the fiber optic is actually at 1.15 times. And if you see in terms of the growth potential divided by province or divided by island, then you see that the market in Sumatra is actually growing at 9.5% in terms of the number of tenants, followed the east of Indonesia, which is Maluku and Papua, at 9.3%. So those area is actually now becoming the highest growth in terms of the number of tenants. Next. Okay. For the financial performance, as Pak Teddy already mentioned, our revenue growth at 8.7, contributing from the tower and also the fiber optic. The EBITDA growth is actually higher, which is at 12.1%. This is contributed by the management leadership in terms of the efficiency, while the net income growth at 7.1. This is because of one of the one-time charge in terms of increase in depreciation. For the new tower, we able to build 1,245 new tower. As of September, we are able or have an ongoing order of 312. So in total, we actually managed to get about 1,557, which basically already higher than our guidance in terms of build to suit. For the new tenant, we have 2,022 new tenant. The ongoing is still about 445, which create the total of new tenant at 2,467. Okay, this is quite close from our target of 3,000 tenant. For fiber optic, the RFS already reached 7,193 in the third quarter. But in terms of the construction, we or we able to meet 9,600 kilometer. Total order for fiber optic itself is actually already 13.8 thousand kilometer, okay, which almost close to our target for 2024. Okay, next. Okay, if we discuss in terms of revenue by product, the tower leasing, which is growth around 8.5%. Okay, the EBITDA margin also improve or better compared to last year. Now at 87.8% compared to last year third quarter at 85%. Fiber optic growth close to 90%. In terms of the contributing revenue is around 4% or double compared to last year, and the EBITDA margin at 83%, almost similar compared to last year. Tower-related business now contributing 7%, similar to last year. And in terms of the revenue, almost quite similar at 19.5%. Reseller, as we continue to slowly phase out the business, is actually reduced to 7.2%. The EBITDA margin still at 88.4%. Next. In terms of the cost, our total cost, total expenses and depreciation, also with amortization, is actually increased 4.1%. This is in line with actually lower compared to the growth of revenue of 8.7%. The main contribution, the increase is actually happened in the depreciation, which I will explain later. But then if we see by segment, the planning and operation and also managing the tower is actually dropped about close to 11%. This is, as I mentioned, because of the efficiency and the increase the number of towers that we have, we are able to deliver a very high, very efficient operation for the tower. And then for the construction and project management is actually dropped more than 1%. This is actually still in line because the revenue itself is actually only increased about 0.6%. GA increased 4.4% compared to 16.1%. This is also due to the one-time activity actually in the second quarter due to the consulting and also activity as a public listed company. And then for the employee compensation, the 7.4% increase is actually due to the implementation of tax income policy. Okay? And lastly, the other income is actually dropped quite significant is because the difference in the accounting method, while for the BTS business, in the past we actually calculated the revenue and also the cost. We then starting this year, we actually only calculating the net. So we don't actually calculating compared to last year. Okay, and then for depreciation, this significant increase of 11% is actually due to increase in depreciation of 61 billion rupiah, one-time charge. So if we normalize, then the increase of depreciation is around 5.9% or almost similar compared to last quarter. Okay. The amortization also quite normal at 7.2% compared to last quarter at 8.1%. Okay. Next. Okay. In terms of the contribution revenue, 93% of revenue especially come from the high investment grade company. Okay. And then in terms of the contract, is increased from 75% to 78% of our contract is actually long term or more than 4 years. In terms of the CAGR of backlog revenue also improved from 23% last quarter into 24%. And then the market share, we also able to maintain a significant percentage for market share, not only in Telkomsel, but also in XL and also iOS. Okay. Next. Okay. For the balance sheet, in 2000 and third quarter 2024, net debt to EBITDA is slightly increased or almost the same basically compared to last year at 2 times. And in terms of the discussion with the lender, we actually able to amend about 9.3 trillion. Okay? And then in terms of the cost of fund, we are also able to reduce it from 7.4 to 7.1 by third quarter 2024. This is reduced in terms of JIBOR from about 0.4 in second quarter into JIBOR plus 0.2. JIBOR plus 0.1 on the third quarter 2024. In terms of the composition between the fixed and floating, we also able to actually manage from before or last quarter, it was like 48 to 52 comparison between floating and fixed. Now we actually increased the floating allocation into 90%. This is to anticipate the potential reduction or decrease in terms of the JIBOR or BI rate. So then we are expecting another reduction in terms of the cost of fund. Next slide. Okay, this is our last slide. We basically still maintain our guidance, which in terms of the revenue and EBITDA still at high single digit by end of the year 2024. In terms of our CapEx, as of now we haven't changed it yet. However, there's actually a potential change in terms of the inorganic. Before we are actually targeting for the inorganic of 2.1 trillion for the acquisition of fiber to the tower belong to Telkom, but then that acquisition is actually cancelled or not final yet. But then we actually have another acquisition. The amount probably will not that significant, so the utilization of CapEx may be lower at the end of 2024. The number of tenants we're still maintaining at 3,000 new tenants, and in terms of the fiber optic, we are targeting 14,000 kilometers by end of the year. This is actually conclude my call. I hand over to Andy for the next session.
Thank you, Pak Hendra, for the presentation. Now we begin the Q&A session. For the first session, we will give the opportunity for 3 participants. And when you ask question, please state your name and the company. Please click raise hand button or use the chat box if you would like to ask. First question will be coming from Bu Sabrina. Please go ahead, Bu Sabrina. You may unmute yourself. Yes, please.
Hi, good afternoon, management, and thank you, Pak Andi, for the opportunity. So I have 2 questions here. The first one is regarding your revenue. I saw that Telkomsel's revenue is growing, but Telkom's revenue is declining as well as XL. Can I know what causes the sequential drop in revenue from those customers? Also, I saw the lease rate increase quarter on quarter. So is this driven only by your tower revenue, or it's due to additional services being provided, such as fiber, to your customers? Maybe I will stop here first for my first question. Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Sabrina. For the other participant, please click raise hand button you would like to ask. Second question will be coming from Pak Kresna Dewanto. Please go ahead, Pak. You may unmute yourself.
Thank you, Pandi, for the opportunity. Good afternoon, management. My name is Krishna from CTBC Indonesia. So my question is more on long-term strategy. So understand that in 2025, there will be another frequency auction on 5G frequency. And as it relates with 5G, understand that the tower requirement or the asset requirement will be much smaller, but much more widely distributed, as maybe the range or the coverage of 5G frequency is not as far as 4G. So as it relates to this, how does the management expect this development to impact Mitra Tel, and whether there are any strategies that the management will undertake to anticipate this shift in technology? Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Kresna. Next question will be coming from Ranjan Sharma. Please go ahead, Ranjan. You may unmute yourself.
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for the presentation. Just one question from my side. On the fiber, is it still that you're looking to build fiber to the tower, or are you building more broad-based fiber assets in the country? And could you be looking to take on other partners to build the fiber with, right? Because some of the players in Indonesia are now restructuring their fiber assets and trying to bring in more financial investors. Is that something that Mitra Tel could evaluate as well? Thank you.
Thank you, Ranjan. Okay. Question from Bu Sabrina is the Telkomsel revenue is growing. Yeah, we believe Bu Sabrina refers to Q on Q trend, while the other is declining, in particular from XL and Telkom. Second question is the lease rate increase. Is it due to tower leasing or other services such as fiber? Please, Hendra.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Sabrina, for the question. Okay, for the first question, yes, I guess the revenue from Telkom is lower due to the managed service and project solution. So mainly the revenue come from Telkom is the tower related. So as you see that the tower related business now is actually at 7%. In the old days, usually close to 10%. This is also our focus, where we want to aiming the product that have a good EBITDA margin. So when the EBITDA margin is not sufficient, not what we are expecting, then we usually more selective in terms of taking up the order. And then for the XL, it's actually because on the first and second quarter, there's actually a renewal in terms of the contract with XL. So the revenue for XL in first and second quarter is actually higher compared to the normal. So if you see compared to last year, third quarter, our revenue is actually still growing for XL. So this is not because the revenue on third quarter is actually dropped. It's actually because on the first and second quarter, the revenue from XL is a bit unusual, where there is a component of renewal inserted on that quarter. That's hopefully to answer the number one question. And number two, in terms of the lease rate, we are able to maintain our lease rate. But on top of that, yes, a product, adjacent product, especially the power as a service, do contribute Fiber optic, we already split the revenue, but then in terms power as a service, even though the contribution is not significant yet, but then it's still able to maintain, you can see an improvement in terms of the average lease rate. Hope that answered the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Indra. Second question from Krishna is regarding with the spectrum auction in 2025. We believe this is 5G spectrum auction. The asset requirement will be smaller but widely distributed. And how the management anticipate this technology shift? Please, Pak.
Okay, thank you, Andi. Thank you, Krishna, for the question. We also anticipate the potential technology as one of the driver, especially on the growth side. With the 5G, the demand of tower is actually increased because of the area is actually smaller. Okay, because of that, the current tower that we have still able to be used for the 5G, and yet we also going to build usually a smaller tower to support the same location. Okay, so on this one, on the 5G, is actually a bonus when the 5G rollout is more aggressive from the MNO. Then we actually anticipate that the potential rollout of order of tower will increase. So then this is actually a potential upside for us in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Indra. Third question is from Ranjan regarding the fiber business. Whether we focus on fiber to the tower and or are we also going to do the partnership to expand the fiber optic businesses?
Okay, thank you, Andi. Thank you, Ranjan, for the question. As of now, we are still developing either organic or inorganic for the fiber optic business. And we are still focused on the fiber to the tower. So we don't have any plan yet to divest the asset or to partnership with anyone. And what happened in the market now, I guess it's more on the MNO where they are trying to divest and become asset light. That trend is actually already happened a while ago when they first divest their tower asset. Okay, now I believe they are also planning to do planning to divest the remaining asset. But as of now, as I mentioned, that we are still focused on the FTTT, and we don't have any plan to divest it yet. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Hendra. The next batch will be another 3 participants, and the next question will be coming from Nico Margaronis. Please go ahead, Pak Nico.
Good afternoon, Pak Andi. Am I audible?
Pak Nico, I think your voice is a little bit broken. Can you increase the volume, please?
Yeah. Am I audible, Pak?
Yeah, clear now. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity, Pak. So basically, my question is first question is on the EBITDA. If you can tell us this looks stronger, yeah, EBITDA margin once again in third quarter. Given also that you roll out more fiber, if you can explain to us how this EBITDA margin will trend going forward, despite having a lower margin business growing for you. That's question number 1, and maybe question number 2. I understand that the most of the contribution in your clients has come mainly from Telkomsel, yeah, in third quarter. If you can confirm, because maybe I'm putting the numbers wrong. So, yeah, is it mainly from Telkomsel, and what's the contribution from the other two parties? Yeah, I know Sabrina asked this question before, but maybe if you can reiterate the message, and what is the remaining orders, yeah, for the fourth quarter? Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Niko. The next question is coming from Adnan Hernugroho. Yeah, please, Pak Adnan. You may unmute yourself.
Hello, thank you, Pak Andi. Yes, I understand that MTEL has long-term debts from banks, and recently there has been changes in the interest rate. I'm just wondering, what's the percentage portion of this debt that has fixed and floating rates? Thank you.
I'm sorry, to confirm your question is the proportion of floating and fixed rate. Is it correct, Pak Adnan?
Yes, from all the debts that MTEL has, what's the portion of the fixed and what portion has fixed and floating rate?
Okay. Yes, noted, Pak Adnan. Thank you, Pak Adnan. I think Bu Sabrina, are you raising the click hand button or?
Hi, yes.
Oh yeah,
Pak Andi, I
please go
still
ahead.
have two more questions, if I may. So, on your tower ads and your fiber ads targets, you actually raise your target for fiber to be 14K, right, for this year instead of like 10K, and you lower down your tenant ads from 4,000 to 3,000 tenants. But your 9 months number are still falling short of the target. So would like to understand, will there be any adjustment to this guidance, firstly? And secondly, are all these additions entirely organic, or it's also coming from the inorganic additions? And then I also have question from your balance sheet. I saw there is a significant decrease in your other payables. So can you please provide more colors on that as well? Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Sabrina. Yeah. Question from Pak Niko is regarding the EBITDA margin that is stronger in the third quarter. And given the rollout of fiber optic, which has lower margin, how is the EBITDA margin trend going forward? A second question is regarding the revenue contribution. It is mainly comes from Telkomsel. And how about the contribution from remaining operators? Please.
Okay.
Pak Hendra.
Thank you, Andi. Thank you, Nico, for the question. So for the first question, as I mentioned before, we are continue to maintain our cost efficiency. So that's one of the contribution that why our EBITDA margin is improved. Second, the contribution from tower-related business is also less than 10%, or now around 7%. So that's create the consolidation of EBITDA margin improve compared to the previous year. Okay? And in terms of the revenue, yes, it's actually quite significant contribution from Telkomsel, and our ongoing order in terms of tenant. So on top of 2022 new tenant that we have as in the third quarter, we have about 445 PO or purchase order that's still ongoing. Okay, this one is actually on top of the commitment from Indosat is around 850. Hopefully, from the 850 can be deployed most of it in fourth quarter, and maybe a small allocation depending on the timing can be spilled out to 2025. So we are quite optimistic by end of the year we are able to deliver the 3,000 tenant that we mentioned in our guidance. Okay, hope those answer question.
Thank you for very clear.
Pak Nico, can you sorry, Pak Nico, can you increase the volume, please?
Yeah, Pandi.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you. Yeah, Pak Hendra, very clear. May I squeeze in one more question? But you have a target for 5.6 trillion capex, and maybe you will come a bit lower than this, yeah, because the acquisition is the acquisitions you intend to do will be smaller size. Can I have the actual figure for capex in 9 months, so in order for me to be in line with you guys? Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
maybe
you, Pak
I
Nico.
can answer directly.
Yeah. Yes, please,
Okay,
final. Yeah.
in terms of the capex deployment now at 2.7 trillion. So yes, we are anticipating that the capex will not be at 5.6 trillion due to the postpone of the acquisition of fiber to the tower that belong to Telkom.
Understood. Thank you, Pak.
And then question from Pak Adnan is the percentage of fixed and floating debt, and what will be the target of the debt proportion?
Okay, thank you, Pak Adnan. As of now, our allocation for floating is actually 90% of the 16 trillion loan that we have is actually floating. Only 10% is fixed. Compared to last quarter, it's actually 48 that is floating and 52 is fixed. This is because we are anticipating the potential of reduce in BI rate or JIBOR. And since we are managing our loan quite flexible, that's why we are able to shift the allocation for fixed or floating. Then in terms of the margin, we also able to reduce the margin again, okay, on top of the reduction in the JIBOR. Okay, hope that answered the question.
The next question is from Bu Sabrina. Again, first question is regarding with the guidance on fiber optic that is raised to 14,000 kilometer. And the length of the fiber optic in the 9 months still falling short. Will there be adjustment on the guidance of fiber optic, and will they come from organic or inorganic? And then number 2 is the significant decrease in other payable. Please provide color on the numbers.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Okay, thank you, Sabrina. I think for the first question, yes, we actually increased the guidance for the fiber optic due to the demand in the market. So we increased it from 10 to 14,000 kilometer. As I mentioned, as of now, we actually close to 14,000 in the third quarter. So we are actually at around more than 13,000 in terms of the fiber optic, 13.8 thousand. That's the order that we already received. Okay, not everything is actually already constructed. Some of it is ongoing construction. But then we are strongly believe that we are able to deliver the number, the 14,000 kilometer by the end of the year. So this is only from from organic. So this is just an order that we built. On top of that, at Pak Teddy already mentioned, we have one target acquisition that's still ongoing. Hopefully, this can close by the end of the year. Okay, this is a mid-size fiber optic company which provide fiber to the tower. And then the question number 2, okay, in terms of the other payable, I think it was the dividend. If you see from the last quarter, it's actually a payment for the dividend, which is about 1.4 something or close to 1.5 trillion, which we actually paid in July 2024. Okay,
Thank you, Pak Indra.
Okay.
Yeah. We also received question from the chat box. Yeah. First question is from Christian Sitorus from MNC. Can you explain again regarding higher other expense? I think he only has one question. Indra, please.
Okay. For the higher other expense, I think the other expense is actually lower, yeah, instead of higher, yeah. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, the other expenses that we have as of third quarter is 16 compared to 51 last year. Okay. So
yeah, correct.
So this one is actually because accounting method where last year we actually inputted the revenue and also the cost for the BTS hotel, because there's actually a cost component, especially when we are using the network from third party. But then in the current or this year book, we actually only inserted the net. So revenue minus the cost, then only the net that we put it under our other expenses. So I hope that answered the question there, Christian.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Indra. Next question is from Bu Selvi from PCA Sekuritas. Does Mitratel have interest to bid for Indosat fiber optic carve-out plan?
Okay, I answer directly for this, yeah. Okay, for the Indosat process, as maybe you are aware that the process is actually include backbone, subsea cable, and also fiber to the tower, and also there is a few or maybe a commitment for fiber to the home. So there's a lot of things in that transaction. So it's not focused on the fiber to the tower. For us, we actually still focus on fiber to the tower. So unless that is the transaction is fiber to the tower, then we probably still thinking if we want to participate or not. Okay? So because our main focus is fiber to the tower, and if we want to provide any other service, then probably at the current time is not our appetite yet.
Thank you, Pak Hendra. So I think we open opportunity for another 3 question again. Then the next question is coming from Haris Al Rashid. Please go ahead, Pak. You may unmute yourself.
Okay, good afternoon, management team. So my question is related to the cash flow statement, especially on the operating cash flow that rising sharply to 5.7 trillion from last year at 3.3 trillion. So my question is, how does Mitratel intend to leverage this improved cash position, and what are the priorities for the capital allocation in the coming quarters? Thank you.
Thank you, Haris. And the next question is coming from, I think, Pak Henry. Please go ahead, Pak Henry. You may unmute yourself.
Hi. Thank you, Pak Andi, and hi, good afternoon, management. Pak, perhaps one question from me, Pak. I understand that Mitratel has lowered the tenants at guidance in the second, like in the second quarters to 3,000, right? So just curious, looking at your tenancy ratio right now, which is at 1.51 times, and also your ROE profile, which is less than 10%. But so just curious, but how in your study, looking at the current consolidation in the mobile industry as well, what will be the new timeline for the Mitratel to achieve, let's say, 1.7 times of the tenancy ratio and also the higher ROE profile, let's say at the double-digit rates and etc. Pak. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Henry. Next question will be coming from Nico Margaronis again. Please, Pak Nico, you may unmute yourself. Pak Nico?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
one question for me. You mentioned, Pak Hendra, tadi earlier that 850 new tenancies from Indosat. How current is this order? I understand that Indosat has been delaying a little bit its orders back in the second quarter. Is this already in the past? Is Indosat start making orders again? How do you see the relocation plan? Is it most of it is it already completed, realized? Where are we in that sense? Just want to get a sense of how is the order book going forward from Indosat? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Pak Nico. Yeah. Okay, the question from Pak Haris from MGIC is about the operating cash flow. Yeah, that increased sharply in the 9 months. How does MTEL will leverage this better position of cash?
Okay, thank you, Andy. Thank you, Haris. In terms of the operating cash flow, yes, we actually able to collect in terms of the billing settlement from our customer a bit early. I think we mentioned before that we are able to get a significant amount of payment in first quarter, and that fund is actually we use significant to reduce our cost of fund. So we are able to actually use it to make an early payment to our cost of fund, especially the loan that is have a high interest rate. Okay, so then that's basically we are able to manage our cost of fund due to the operating cash flow. Maybe that's my answer for Haris. Can we go to the next question?
Yeah. Yes, Pak. I think the next question from Pak Henry Teja is on the tenancy rate position. How is the timeline for Mitratel to reach 1.7 time tenancy ratio? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Thank you, Henry, for the question. If you remember, during the IPO, we did mention that our target 2025, aiming that we have about 1.7 tenancy ratio. But then what happened in the industry that the consolidation is actually impact longer than we are expecting, especially with the IOH. So that actually impact our order, especially the co-location order from IOH. Second, there's also a trend, especially starting this year, where MNO is actually not just do a co-location, but they also see a build an area that they don't have coverage or increasing coverage. So in the past, we only targeting about 1,000 because maybe the market will be around 2,000 every year for build to suit. Turn out that this condition is actually higher, where the market is actually increased maybe to 3,000. That's why we are able to deliver more than 1,500 for build to suit just for this year. Okay. So that changes in the industry also impacting our tenancy ratio, because the build to suit is actually not helping the tenancy ratio, but they are actually helping to improve our revenue. And on top of that, it's actually a potential equipment or asset that we have to actually improve our revenue or co-location in the future. Okay. So with that, that's actually can create a delay in terms of aiming 1.7 in 2025. But if you ask us when it's going to be, it's a bit challenging to answer. And because this is also due some of the inorganic activity in the market, when there's actually an inorganic activity and the tenancy ratio is actually quite high, then we can able to meet the number quite fast. But then if we do it organically, then it's actually we need to see the condition of the MNO or the telco industry at the current time. Okay. So that's probably my answer. Thank you.
Sorry, Pak Andi, perhaps if I can, give
Yes, please.
one follow-up question, Pak Hendra. So just curious, Pak, you mentioned that actually one of the reasons is because of the trend in the industry, which basically push more build-to-suit orders in the market, right, Pak? So just curious, Pak, does that means that basically, some tower sites that you acquire in the past, let's say 2 to 3 years, basically do not provide the edge for these operators, but since they are looking for the build to suit orders instead of using your existing tower sites or rings, but
Okay, maybe not like that, yeah, Henry. Yeah, for the tower that we have, they still potentially to use that, but then they still or they found a new strategy where there's actually an area maybe in Java that is not 100% coverage. So in that area, then they can do a build to suit. Okay, so it's not because of they do build to suit, so they are shifting rather than using our tower, they do a build to suit with others. It's basically because they are seeing a potential market in a certain location, and also including in Java, where there's actually a potential market there. Maybe 5 years ago, that area is not commercially viable, but then now, because of the increase of population or GDP, etc., then that area become a potential market for the MNO. Now, for that, we actually stand by and we are willing to deploy and build an asset in that area. And on top of that, the potential for doing a co-location in that area is also quite feasible.
Okay. Thank you, Pak Hendra. The next question from Pak Nico regarding with 850 orders from Indosat. How current is this order? And is Indosat making new orders again? Another point that Pak Nico asked is about, has their expansion plan been realized? And how is that order book looking at going forward?
Okay, thank you, Nico, for the question. So as of September, I think we have 1,557 build to suit, and in terms of colo, about 910 colocation. For that, if we compile everything, the order from Telkomsel is 1,621. From Smartfren is about 307, Excel 225, and then IUH about 94. Okay, others is around 220. Okay, so there's still continue an order from non-Telkomsel, even though the order is not that is not as that high as a Telkomsel. And if you ask us the position of the 850, this has been discussed quite a while, okay, because it's also already due the commitment from them. So we are agree that from the 850, all of the location or the potential location will be given to us by this year, and some of it is actually already received, and we expecting that the execution will actually happen majority by this year. Okay, maybe as I mentioned, there's actually a spill out, but not significant to 2025 due to the location. For example, when they are planning to expand in the east of Indonesia, it may take more time for them to actually deliver the equipment to that area. For us to preparing for co-location is usually about 1 month. It should be ready, but yes, it's actually depend on the readiness of the equipment from the MNO itself. Okay, thank you.
Pak Niko, do you have a follow-up question?
Can I follow up? Sorry.
Yes, please, Pak Niko.
Yeah. So East Indonesia will be served by you, by Mitra Tel, or including all the other operators. So that is going slow. Yeah, the East Indonesian part too, their expansion is going slow. But in the meantime, they can do very quickly collocations with you. Yeah, the remaining 850 from out of the 94 young they already completed. So you expect 850 can be done in full year 2024. Yeah, whilst the East Indonesia might take a bit longer time, maybe. So the other operators maybe they might have lower performance maybe in fourth quarter. That's what I understand. Correct me if I'm wrong, Pak.
Yes, Nico. So for my understanding that because of the merger, then the consolidation of tower is not done yet, especially with the other operator. For us, we already finished it. I think it was like at the end of 2022. Then that's why we actually able to get an order or starting getting order from Indosat. Okay? So the 850 is actually part of the commitment I believe was in 2023 at the time. So this one is actually only the allocation to us, okay, where we already able to finalize or to solve in terms of the relocation due to the merger process. So this one is actually we are waiting and we are hoping that most of the 850 can be done by this year.
Thank you, Pak Hendra. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Hendra. Thank you, Pak Niko. I think due to the interest of time, we take one more question, and the question is coming from chat box from Pak Jason Sebastian from Samuel Securitas. How many tower that has been already bundled with power as a service? Please, Pak Hendra.
Okay. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Jason, for the question. Now is about 1,647. So that's the power as a service that's already bundled. Okay, and majority, or you can say that 100% of this bundle is actually giving to Excel. Okay, hope that answered the question. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Hendra, and I think that question conclude our discussion today. And thank you everyone for participating into this call. And we apologize to those whose question that could not be addressed yet. Should you have any further question, please feel free to contact us directly. For your information, the recording of today's call will be available for the next 7 days after the call, and we will send over the link to your email. This concludes the call for today. Thank you, everyone, and see you in the next quarter. Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.